again, thank you for joining us this morning. My name's Shana Merced. We are going to be reviewing some of the expanded payment options that we have in our new system, The Key. I want to just thank you guys in advance for giving us some of your time this morning. We will have time at the end of this session for questions or to go over anything that may have been unclear, anything that you might have questions or concerns about. I do want to just say up front, we will be working in a test environment for this demo, so there could be some quirkiness that happens. I'm going to apologize in advance if something gets weird. But for the most part, we should be able to move pretty smoothly through these points. Okay. So one of the probably best features of our new system is that we have been able to expand our payment plan options pretty significantly. So if you have been with us since TPC Connect, you know that policies in our legacy system, really get 3 payment plan options, and those are pay in full, pay in 4 payments, or pay in 2 payments. So 4 payments was the most flexible payment plan that we could offer our insureds. Now we do have the ability to offer up to a 12-pay plan, as well as we have some expanded options for automated payments. So also coming from TPC Connect, you could have a recurring credit card on file with us, but not recurring ACH payments. You couldn't make a check payment by phone. All of that functionality is now built into our Key system. So I'm just going to pull up a policy here to get started and get familiar. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move to the billing list, or billing tab here, which just gives you a kind of general summary of what's going on. So just so we kind of know or familiarize ourselves with where certain things are, I'm just going to review these tiles. So in this account summary, you get the payment plan type, current due date, if there's been an invoice generated, the amount due, your equity date, and what the next action is on the policy. So in this case, this policy is on a mortgagee direct bill. So the unbilled, it's already been billed. The unbilled schedule is empty. Unbilled schedule would hold any future payments that are going to be generated. So if the insured has the question of when is my next payment due, or when is my next bill going to be sent rather, then this unbilled schedule is going to kind of give them that insight. The invoice summary is going to show bills that have already generated. So here we see on 10/4, we generated a bill due 10/26. Transaction history just kind of gives a record of what has occurred on the account. So we just see the establishment of the policy here, create account. When a bill gets created, it's called a batch roll. And if a payment were made, you'd see a cash receipt. We'll see some examples of that as we move forward through this application. But basically, for new business, the way the payment plan gets set up, as I'm sure you guys are probably aware by now, is by selecting a payment plan on this review chevron. So just want to hop out and talk about this tile here for a second as well. In this upper portion, what we are lining out, what these payment plans are 1-for-1 bills, okay? Meaning a bill per policy. So if I just wanted this one policy on an automated 4-pay, I'm going to select from these pay plan options. Down towards the bottom are our options for statement accounts. Statement accounts are billing plans for insured accounts where we're going to be billing multiple policies on one statement invoice. Okay, so if an insured has 3 policies with us, then they can just get, one invoice for all 3 of those policies as those policies come through. So that's the key distinction between what you're seeing up here and what you're seeing down here. if you're only writing one policy for an insured, you really don't need to put that on a statement account. They'll get a bill for that particular policy using any of these options. Statement account is most definitely for insureds who are going to have multiple policies with us. So we'll talk about statement accounts, setting up statement accounts on enforced policies, because that's a question that probably comes up for us most consistently. But I'd just like to explain that to you guys, because that's something people struggle with. We're seeing a lot of individual policies put on statement accounts. It's not necessary. The statement account is where the fees are going to kind of like accumulate. So you could be getting fees added to a policy that you may not necessarily need fees added to if you're putting it on a statement and it's just like a one-for-one policy. Okay? So aside from, you know, just the direct bill options and the statement account options, our automated pay plans allow you to elect a day of the month on which you know you want your payment due. So again, that's whether you're statement or non-statement automated pay plans. You pick the day that your payment's going to be drafted from your credit card or from your bank account. So just also some good information to know. This is the review chevron. This is where you're picking your payment plan up front when you're creating your new business policy. So again, that should be kind of familiar to you. Right now I'm looking at an enforced policy, so you see nothing's really available to edit. If I wanted to change this plan for this direct bill policy, it happens on the billing tab. So initially, when we introduced this system, for those of you who are writing business in Maryland and Delaware, PA, the states that we first brought up, you would change a pay plan via an endorsement transaction. In April, we actually changed the way that you can update a payment plan. And so now, for the most part, for those direct bill policies, those one-to-one policies, if you want to change a payment plan, it happens on this billing tab. Okay? So in this example, I have a policy that's mortgagee billed, direct bill full pay. I wanted to change that to give the insured, let's say, some more payment options. Let's say they wanted to break it down into 4 payments to make it a little bit easier for them, or 10 payments. Then, you know, they're just going to elect that here, or you are rather, as the agent. They'll just change that here on this tile. All right. If we go automated, we're going to get some additional fields that open up to select the payment type. I'm just going to say ACH here. Excuse my caps lock. All right, and let's just do the 30th. So I'll go ahead and process that change. All right. And so now the system thinks today's 10/4. So that's why we see the invoice on 10/4. It's looking at it as today's date and saying, all right, I'm going to create a new bill tonight based on that change. It isn't until we process that change that we get a view of this, what the breakdown of the payment plans are going to be. So unfortunately, if the insured wants some expanded payment options, we can do it, but until we process the change, we won't actually see how they break out. So just be aware of that. So again, unbilled schedule, we see the bill day, the due day for it, and a summary of invoices, as well as you can see the endorsement transaction happening on this particular policy. I've got to update to automated Fort Pay here. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Basically, if the insured is on a direct bill pay plan, whether it's automated or non-automated, the change happens here on this billing tab. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and move out to the customer account for this insured. So this new system that we have, the key, is very customer-centric, right? Every time you do a quote, if you're not creating the customer account as part of the quote right up front, meaning you're just doing like your new quote option from your inbox, every time you do a quote, a customer account gets established, whether you're setting up a new customer account or attaching a quote to an existing one. So here I am out at the customer account level, and we can see that this insured has, quote, 2 enforced policies with us. All right, I've got access to the claim list, which would just give me a summary of any claims on any of their policies, and the billing list. So this is kind of where I want to focus for a second. So on the billing list, we can see the 2 enforced policies, their respective payment plans. You also get an option to like make a payment here over on the right side. So you can do that down at the policy level or here up at the customer billing list. I'm showing you guys this because when a customer has multiple policies and they want to have a statement account, changes to that statement account's payment plan will happen up here at the customer level. So before we get into changing a statement, we're going to want to establish one. So there's a few ways to do that. I'm going to show you what I find to be the easiest. I take the first policy that is on the insured's account. I go right to the billing tab, and I'm going to select change pay plan. All right. So now I'm going to select from the statements. So we'll make this 4Pay. It's still keeping my ACH information. If I wanted to change that here, I could. I'm just going to go ahead and hit process. This is going to establish a statement account for this insured. We see that the payment plan field has updated to statement, and we have a new statement account number, which is searchable in this inbox, or excuse me, in this tile. If you ever just wanted to jump to a statement, if you have the number, you can use that. Another way to get to the statement, however, again, just out to the customer account, billing list. So here goes the homeowner's policy, which has not yet been attached to the statement account. If I hit the plus sign here, you can see that this DP policy is in fact part of the statement. Okay? So now that I have a statement account established, I have to go into each other policy for that insured and update them each. So if there were 5 policies, I'd have to move through this 5 times. When I hit change payment plan now that there's an established statement, you'll see that a statement account appear right at the top of the payment plan tile. So we're going to add it to the existing statement that we've already established. Be mindful of this. If you already have a statement account set up, don't select new statement account, because then you'll have 2 separate statement accounts for 2 separate policies, which is not really what we want. All right, so I'm tying this to the statement. I'm going to go ahead and just hit process here. And we see that this policy was now also added to the statement. If I move to the customer account and the billing list, now I see each of the policies is connected to that statement. Okay, so here's the fun part. Now the insured wants to update their credit card information for recurring payments, or excuse me, their ACH information. Maybe they want to change their statement from being 4 payments to being 12 payments. Whatever the case may be, if there is a statement account on the policy, the change has to happen on the statement account. So going to the individual policy and going to the billing tile, when you see statement, you really shouldn't be using this option to change the payment plan unless you're only interested in changing this one individual policy. Okay? So that if we're changing just the one policy, it happens at the policy level. If we're changing the statement account for all associated policies, again, you want to do that up at the statement level, And it's as simple as just hitting this edit button to the right of the customer billing list. So here you see I could elect any of the other payment plan options for statement accounts. I could change my payment due day. I could update my payment information. I could switch to credit card. Once I've updated this change, so let's see, let's just walk through this a second. If it'll have me, I'm just going to hit save. So now you see what's happening as I revise this statement is it's going to go behind the scenes and endorse each of the individual policies tied to it. So, okay.